What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Well, your boy is going to be a little bit away for the next 24 to 48 hours, and so what I wanted to do is do a quick overview of what I'm seeing from the crypto market as a whole and what I'm expecting over the next couple days. So even while I'm a bit away, you'll still be fully up to date and you'll know exactly what to be looking for. And so in today's video, we're going to go over a little bit of Bitcoin, some Ethereum, some altcoins in general, and I'll give you a general update of the crypto market as a whole. So again, hopefully you feel prepared for the days ahead. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into it. Now, before we get into that though, I know a ton of you on my channel absolutely love to hold and trade XRP. And if that's you, I want you to head to the link down below and check out the Gemini credit card XRP edition. Because with this credit card, you can earn up to 4% XRP back on every single purchase that you make with no annual fee. It's broken down into 4% for gas, EV, and transit, 3% for dining, 2% for groceries, 1% for everything else, all broken down into XRP. This is literally a way to basically just stack up XRP while you go throughout your day-to-day life without actually having to buy it, which I think is absolutely insane. And the craziest part about it is there's no annual fee. So this isn't something that you even particularly have to pay for in many ways. And also it's MasterCard World Elite. So wherever MasterCard is accepted, this is accepted. And so there's not many boundaries. One of the biggest issues with credit cards in the crypto space these days is that they're not accepted anywhere. And it's very annoying. Whereas they figured out how to get the MasterCard World Elite going. And that's absolutely strong. And so if you check out the link down below, you can get $200 in XRP when you spend $3,000 in your first 90 days. So this could be a great opportunity to kickstart it. If you want to check it out, again, I will leave the link down in the description below for you. But without further ado, let's kick back into the video. So as I mentioned before, I am going to be gone for the next 24 to 48 hours. And so I really want to focus first and foremost on Bitcoin because I think Bitcoin is having a pretty big impact on the market right now. So in the last video that I made for you all, we were actually talking about the fact that Bitcoin is in this massive descending structure, and it's actually respecting the structure very, very well. We, of course, saw the support established here. We saw resistance established up here. We came back down and bounced off the 50. We saw some resistance on the 75. We saw a little bit of resistance on the 87.5. Like, we've been seeing some really, a really strong and respectful interaction here with this descending channel for Bitcoin. And all that means is that Bitcoin is now 100% confirmed that this is the structure that it is interacting with. Now, because this is the structure it's interacting with, my game plan for something like Bitcoin always remains the same. I never diverge away from my game plan in a structure like this. And that game plan is simply just this. I first expect that Bitcoin will eventually break to the top side of the structure because that's what it does 90+% of the time. And so what I'll do is I just try to make as much profit as I can in this descending structure while accumulating towards the bottom sides in anticipation of making some long-term gains when it eventually breaks out. And what that looks like for me is playing this game. I do some pretty big dollar cost averages anytime that Bitcoin hits this green zone, which is simply just the bottom 25% of the structure, the descending parallel channel. And anytime that it bounces from this green zone to the red zone, I take a little bit of profit. I don't close down the whole purchase that I did. I just take a little bit of profit off the table, a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit here. And the game is that every single time this move happens, I'm locking in some profit, locking profit there, locking profit there, locking profit there, while creating a pretty sizable bag of crypto because I'm accumulating at the very bottom of this channel. And then eventually when Bitcoin's price does break out of this structure, I will then go in and start taking a lot of profit off the table, trying to benefit on all the dollar cost averaging that I did in here. Because let's say, for example, if this is what it looks like, my average cost is probably somewhere down here because I did some purchasing here, more purchasing there, bigger purchasing there, bigger purchasing there, reducing that average cost throughout the entirety of this descending channel journey. And so currently my game plan with Bitcoin over the next 24 to 48 hours is just this. I'm going in. I took a little bit of profit off of Bitcoin earlier this morning now that we are back in the red zone. And if Bitcoin's price decides to break to the top side of this red zone, guess what? I'm going to take a lot of profit off the table. You all know I was buying Bitcoin back on August 30th and 31st when we were back down here. And I also was actually buying a little bit of Bitcoin around break even at the very beginning of August, break even to where we are now. And so if Bitcoin's price does make this run up, guess what? That's profit. We were able to capitalize on this pullback, use this pullback to scoop the lows, and then use these lows, of course, to lock in some profit on the way up. So if over the next 24 to 48 hours, Bitcoin's price does rally towards the top side and out of this descending channel, I'm just going to take a lot of profit off of Bitcoin, maybe close down, a couple percentages of the bag or something along those lines. Now, Bitcoin's a bit of a different one. I don't like to sell that much Bitcoin, even whenever it does pump, just because Bitcoin is one of my forever holdings, but I do like to still reward myself. So I will, of course, take a little bit of profit off the table. Now, let's say, for example, Bitcoin's price pulls all the way back down to, say, the 50% line, the 50% threshold between the top side and the bottom side side of this channel, right here. If this happens, I'll probably go in and do a small little tiny purchase right here, either a tiny purchase or a tiny long trade. And the reason why is because Bitcoin has now showed us just recently that this 50% line is a strong level of support. The bulls are willing to step in here. And so knowing that the bulls are willing to step in at that 50% line, I do think there could be a reason to, I think it's reasonable to do a tiny little dollar cost average in right here with using some of the profit that I took off of course, Bitcoin back up here just to try to recompound some of those gains. And that's really just the game that I'm playing with Bitcoin. If we break out, take a lot of profit. If we pull back down, do a tiny little purchase right here. And if for some reason in the next 24 hours we go all the way back into the green zone, then sure, I'll go in and I'll buy a lot of Bitcoin. But I feel like it might be, I don't know. I just don't think that Bitcoin's going to do that by the time that I make my next video in like a day or two. Okay. So I'm not super concerned by that, but obviously that is a card that's on the table and I will be aware of it. Now, one thing that I do want to show you guys is that we are actually seeing a lot of confluence between this channel and the Crusader signals. So the Crusader signals are something that I've been using recently. A good friend of mine introduced me to them and I've actually really just been liking them a lot. And what you can see from the Crusader signals is that they have been doing a very good job at showing when there's bullish strength approaching Bitcoin's price at the bottom side of this channel and when there's been bearish strength approaching Bitcoin's price at the top side of this channel. So for example, what we can see is that from the Crusader signals, every time that we've dipped into the green zone or gotten close to this 50% zone right here, right here, and right here, this little mini pullback right here, we've seen that buy strength signal pop up, which just goes to show that there is buy strength entering into the Bitcoin price and the odds of a short-term reversal are very high. And so what we can see right now is like the last time that we got back to this 50% threshold, like I mentioned before, we saw buy strength 2 go in, which is of course that second level of buy strength. And so to me, I think this is a good indication that like, yeah, if we come back down to say the 50% threshold, we'll probably see that Crusader signal 1 going off here, giving us some buy strength signals. And I think if it comes all the way back down to the light green zone, just like we saw back here, we'll probably see that second zone of buy strength coming back in, which would give me further conviction that we will see some sort of bounce. And so all in all, I do think that it is a good thing that not only are we seeing Bitcoin showing itself with this structure, but we are also getting the alignment, the confluence with these sorts of indicators, just showing that, hey, there is buy strength approaching when we're hitting these key levels of support. And we are seeing some sell strength approaching when we are getting up towards the top side of these resistance levels. So all in all, I thought that was pretty cool. I will actually leave the link down below to the indicator, the Crusader signals. Feel free to go check it out. It's really good. It was developed by a guy who knows what he's doing. Again, a good friend of mine. Feel free to go check that out. And I'm going to be using it a lot here on the channel just because it is now kind of a part of my daily technical analysis. But all in all, that's kind of where we are with Bitcoin. Very easy, very simple. Going in, if we pull back to the bottom side of this 50% threshold, I will do a little bit of purchasing. If we get back to the green zone, I'll do a lot of purchasing. If we break through the top side of the red zone, I will do a good bit of selling. And it's going to be just cut and dry, just that simple. Now, when it comes to Ethereum, we are in a very similar position. Okay, so obviously the structure is the structure is the same, but the price structure is a little bit different. So ETH, for example, we just did some buying on Ethereum back down here. And again, funnily enough, if we actually do look at that 1 hour Crusader signal, you can see that we were getting that buy strength printing as we were approaching this green zone, which just goes to show again that we did purchase at a good time as we hit the bottom side of this structure. And now ETH has done a great job of using this to break back above the 50% threshold. Now, while it's at the 50% threshold, since we're running into it more as a resistance and not as a support like Bitcoin, I'm actually doing nothing here. I won't make a move on ETH until it either comes back down to this green zone or goes up to this red zone. If ETH over the next 24 to 48 hours pulls back towards the green zone, I will double down and I will do more buying. If ETH's price pushes up into the red zone and we do get, of course, to the top side of this structure, I will be doing some selling. I mean, look at the last 2 times that we got to the top side of the structure. We had sell strength 1 right here. We had sell strength 2 right here. So it's clear as day that when ETH gets up to this, the sell pressure starts to really pop on and push the price back down. So I'm going to continue, of course, to take profits until ETH does inevitably break through the top side of this structure. Okay. So when I look at Ethereum, it's a bit different than Bitcoin because there's no close moves in sight, right? Like I said, with Bitcoin, if Bitcoin's price just comes back down a little bit, I'll do some buying. Not the same with ETH. I'm not doing anything while we're in this black zone because this is like a dead zone. Either taking profits in the red zone or buying in the green zone. Until one of those things happens, I'm not doing anything. With Solana, my general thesis does remain the same. I don't love the structure that Solana's creating. Some people are actually saying that Solana is still in a macro ascending channel, even though I've been looking at it more from this perspective right here. But one way or another, it either just broke to the bottom side of this descending or this ascending channel, or it's still in this ascending channel. One way or another, ascending channels are historically not great for cryptos like Solana. And so because of that, I'm just giving Solana a break right now. We took a lot of profit off of it back up here. So for now, I'm just going to leave it alone, see how it plays out, and we'll go from there. And then when we look at, again, something like XRP, XRP is in a very similar position to Bitcoin. What we can see is that XRP did bounce off this 50% threshold twice and push back into the red zone. So if XRP's price does come back down to this 50% threshold here, I will do a little bit of purchasing on XRP, saving the majority of my purchasing for if it does come back down to this green zone. If we do kind of look at the confluence with the Crusader signals on the hourly charts, you can kind of see how this is lined up. What we can see here, and while we're letting that load up, there you go. Okay, I was about to say it should load up here in a second. What you can see is, again, yes, we did get that buy strength coming in right here, and we got more buy strength right here. Just going to show that as we approach this 50% threshold, there definitely is some buy pressure approaching, which is a great signal for me. And so, yeah, so if XRP comes back down here, I'll do a little bit of purchasing here, a lot of purchasing down here. And I did take a little bit of profits off XRP yesterday and a couple days ago when we bounced back into the red zone. So I'll do the same thing. If XRP makes a run to, say, the top side of this channel, I'll take a good bit of profit off XRP, hoping that we do get that continued move upwards, at which point I can lock in even more profit from XRP. So all in all, I'm not going to keep going because I think that you understand where I'm getting at now. I'm really just focusing on doing my buys and my sells based on the structure of this massive descending channel. But all in all, I do think that eventually Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, Ethereum, whatever, I think that, or maybe not Solana, but Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum, I do think they're eventually going to break through the top side of these descending channels. And so one strategy that you could have is literally just leaving it alone, right? Doing some dollar cost averaging at these key levels of support, doing some dollar cost averaging when these buy signals go off, and outside of that, just leaving it alone, not doing much, just allowing this thing to do what it's going to do. That is a very good strategy in my opinion. I like to just take profit at the top side here because I know how long we can range in this before we actually do break out, and I'd like to lock in some realized gains and like while that's happening, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now whenever it does come to Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and much more. And again, that's kind of what I'll be working on and looking at for the next 24 to 48 hours while I am a bit away, while I am a bit MIA. I might be able to get a video out for you guys tomorrow. It is going to be a little bit difficult, but I'll keep you updated then. But all in all, I just wanted to give you a quick update, letting you know exactly what I'm studying for the next 24 to 48 hours. So hopefully you guys did enjoy today's quick video and all of the quick updates we've been giving you recently. If you did, feel free to go check out some of the links down in the description below. Don't forget to go check out Gemini and check out the signals that I am recently and in the future going to be using a lot more. So again, hope you guys did enjoy, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. See you, everybody.